In this lesson, we'll cover rendering and exporting images. So let's say you want to render this three-dimensional image and then actually export it. To do the rendering, let's go to the View tab on your ribbon. On the View tab, click Render. The Revit rendering window will now appear. In the quality area, you can set how crisp or how cartoonish you want this rendering to be. You can also make it custom or edit some of the existing settings. As far as output resolution, you could set it for screen, for example, if it's going to be an image published on the web, or printer, if it's going to be printed. You can then set your lighting. If you have no internal artificial light, such as light bulbs, then we're just going to choose exterior sun. You could also do interior sun if you have openings. You can also set the sun setting. Clicking the button on the right with the three dots will open up sun settings. Here, you can set up a solar study or just look at a light, in this case the sun, from a specific direction. You can also set the azimuth and altitude if you want. Click OK. You can add clouds or no clouds. You can even add an image to the background. You can add haze, and if you want to adjust the exposure, you can adjust manually by changing the values or sliding the bars to the right. Lastly, what you would want to do is render. Now, I've already rendered this in this lesson. To see the rendering, all I have to do is click Show the Rendering at the very bottom. This will actually show the end result of the rendering. However, if you want to render this, just click Show Model again, and then click Render. Depending on your quality setting, the higher the setting, the longer it may take to render, depending on your computer. The more RAM in a graphics card, the faster the rendering. Now, if you want to save this so you can actually use this again within the project, in the bottom left, you would click Save to Project. This would ask you to give this rendering a name, and it becomes a view within your listing of views. I already saved it, so I'm going to click Cancel. If you want to export this out to a standalone file like a JPEG, click Show the Rendering, then click Export. This will ask you for a name to create if you want to save it as a JPEG, or I could pick a different format. Here I already saved it to Chapter 17, 3D_1 rendered. You can save it again, or just click Cancel. Now, after we're done rendering and saving our image, just click the X on the rendering window. Now, to see this rendering as a view, if you scroll down in your views, you have a group called Renderings. Under Renderings, you have the rendering as I saved it to this project, 3D_1_ rendered. And here's the rendering. So you could place this rendering on one of your sheets. Now, for the file that I saved to the local computer, it's actually in the folder for Chapter 17. And I could see here's the rendered image, 3D1_ rendered. This is the JPEG file. So as a review, in this lesson, we discussed rendering and exporting our rendered images. The first thing we looked at was creating a rendering, looking at the various settings of rendering, from the quality to the actual DPI or pixels, if we want this actually rendered to screen or to a printer. We looked at our sun settings, sun location, and then we actually rendered this. We can actually save the rendering to our project, which creates a new view. We can also export the rendering to a standalone file, such as a JPEG.